Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Bolt Crew podcast. Dave Pele, Josh Pele, Mario Heron. Sorry for joining a couple minutes late. Some pre-show stories we will not be sharing on this show. We've decided. Look, Charger football. Talked about the Chargers again. Disappointing loss to the Chiefs on Sunday, and it's so funny is you watch the game. It's a late game, so it's not like you have a chance to even talk to a bunch of your buddies or family members who are Charger fans. You kind of catch up the next day or the day after, and you start sharing, like, what do you feel? And everyone I've spoken to since the game, same thing, same kind of feeling. Like, why do I watch these Charger Chief games? Kind of the way I felt on Sunday. Every one of them has the same damn ending. The only difference was this time none of us were blaming the referees, but there's so many things that were similar in what people complain about, Josh. And what surprised me on a few were, I'd say 30% of them complain Justin Herbert, man, has to be more accurate on that deep ball. And I understood that too. Look, he's a pro. Josh Palmer, we had a touchdown. I understand. But look, when you're getting hit like Justin Herbert gets hit, and the offensive line, as we talk about, the interior part of the offensive line is falling apart and just letting guys fly through, you're kind of like either punch drunk or PTSD. Like, those situations of having a guy wide open shooting down the field, they don't happen very often. Yeah, I'll say any quarterback should hit a guy in stride for 50 yards, especially an NFL quarterback. But, man, he missed one. And it always ends for me, Josh, of every guy I've spoken to since the game, they all say this: it's a miracle the team's 8-5, and it's a miracle that with the talent that is on the offensive side of the ball, that Justin Herbert ever gets in the end zone.
It's a miracle. I agree with those people. I think it's a miracle as well. The big picture, the Chargers being 8-5, I'll take that record, especially with the team they have out there, especially on offense, the team that they have out there. I'll take 8-5 all day. Going into the season, we said 9-10 wins will be good enough to get you in the playoffs, especially 10 wins, right? If you get double-digit wins, you should make the playoffs. Do you still feel that way, Mario? This Chargers team needs 10 wins to get into the playoffs?
I do, because of who's behind them. Like, the Dolphins and the Colts are like the guys that are kind of like chasing them down. Then we have the Broncos, who we can kind of decide that fate when we face them next week. I still think the 9-10 wins, that gets you in, and that gets you into the dance. And, we said it all year, that's just the goal. The goal is to get into the wild card. Whatever happens from there, happens from there. We rock and roll and go and face that when we face that. But, like, in this loss, too, against Kansas City, I think the positive still, or just the thing that, like, look at is, like, this Charger team was not 100% at all. Like, not even close. And, like, they still took it down to the wire. And they did something, Dave, that they haven't really done all year, was come back in the second half. That's something we've been, like, kind of wanting them to do.
Yeah, especially the third quarter. They haven't done anything in the third quarter for the most part. We always wonder. You're right. And they did it on the road. So, look, I'm going to say something. You guys might think I'm crazy on this one. The Chargers are not going to lose a regular season game the rest of the year. I think they've made it through the toughest part of their schedule. I know you guys are going to push back in a second when I talk about the Broncos. Both of you guys are a little bit afraid of Sean Payton and the Broncos team. But I think this team goes 4-0 to finish out the season and go to the postseason. And they have the Buccaneers starting this Sunday at home. They have the Broncos again at home for their last home game of the year. And then they're on the road with the Patriots and the Raiders. But I don't think this team loses another game, which would put them at, 12-5 to finish the season. Pretty damn good for a first year. Am I crazy on saying they go undefeated the rest of the way?
I don't think you're crazy, but 12-5 would be an inverse of our record last year, right? We went 5-12. 4-0 is asking a lot out of this Chargers team. I think at least 2 wins, Mario. At least 2-2. They have to go. The Raiders should be a lock, and then the Patriots should be a lock as well. The Buccaneers, they should win that game, but you never know with that Buccaneers offense. And then you have the Broncos, who are all of a sudden one of the better teams in the AFC. How do you see it shaking out?
I'm so excited to see who starts at quarterback in that last week for the Raiders. That's gonna be a doozy. We'll see who's behind center for them in that one. I think they go 3-1 in this stretch, because I think either the Bucs game or this Broncos game is might go against them a little bit, right? Like, I've expressed my concerns of the way the Broncos have looked. They're a lot more serious of a team than they were last time we faced them. And it's going to be a primetime game too as well. And, Sean Payne second time around is pretty hard to beat, man. And this Bucs team, in order for them to feel comfortable enough to make the playoffs, they have to go 4-0 in this stretch. And the only kind of, I guess, hard game, if you look at it, the only team with a winning record that they faced to finish the season is the Los Angeles Chargers. So this game, in a way, Dave, is like kind of their Super Bowl right now. Like this is their make or break. They can't afford any loss in a tiebreaker with the Falcons because then it goes to the Falcons right away because they couldn't beat them this year. The Falcons went 2-0 against them. So we're going to get Bucks' best shot and we're going to get the best chances. And that's a hard team to beat. At the same time, though, Baker loves to turn that ball over, man. You look at his stats and you see, 33 for 43. You see the 300 yards. You see the 4 touchdowns. But make sure you keep going all the way to that column and you see those interceptions because it's guaranteed there's going to be a 2 there. Yep.
All right. So look, real quick, before we move on to more of the Buccaneers, I understand they're the team they're going to face this weekend. When you look at the standings, the Chargers, of course, they got the best of the Broncos in Denver. They will play the Broncos at home. This is the second time they'll face them. Here's the Broncos' final 4 games. As I said, I think the Chargers won every one of theirs. The Broncos don't have an easy schedule, and they're both teams are 8-5 right now. The Broncos this weekend have the Colts at home. Then they have the Chargers on the road. Then they're on the road again against Cincinnati, and then they're at home against Kansas City. So, I mean, there's no reason why this Charger team shouldn't be taking care of business and win second place, I should say, which is important. I think when you look at the seeding of the possible playoff picture, I think you'd rather finish in second than finish in third on who they might face in the first round.
I agree with that. I also think that people are saying in the comments here that the Chargers, they have a short week against the Broncos. That doesn't bode well for us. I think it does bode well for us. If I was to play on a short week, I'd want a home game. Obviously, the Chargers play the Broncos on Thursday Night Football. Doesn't that benefit the Chargers, Mario, to play a home game on Thursday Night Football?
It does. I mean, absolutely it does. And guys, we have a home field advantage now. Like we have that. We have a stadium now that's like Charger fans. It's not a 50-50 split. It's 60-40 us, but that's, it's still an advantage. And that means something. Plus, that's a rookie QB in prime time, by the way, on a short week and a pretty big stance, too.
It's a great defense.
Dude,
exactly.
They got to travel. We'll be practicing when they're on an airplane. That's what's going to be happening. You know what I mean? It 100% benefits us on a short week to know that they're spending time traveling and they're getting everything ready. I mean, they're losing basically a day of practice compared to what the Chargers will have. Chargers are going to win that damn game. There's no way Jim Harbaugh is going to let this team lose to the Broncos. I just don't see it. I'm telling right now, they're going to go 4-0. I don't understand. Tim over here in the chat is telling me we'll be lucky to win 10 games to make the playoffs. Do you understand you're part of this is the Charger podcast right now? I mean, we're talking about the Charger schedule. We aren't talking about some other ratty team. This team's making the goddamn playoffs. This team doesn't make the playoffs, I'll stop doing the show as soon as that happens. Done.
Yeah, we all watch
to Atlanta.
Team. Oh boy, there it is. We all watch the same team, but we see different things. Mighty here is saying, do y'all think Gus Edwards wants to play for this team? His body language all the time seems uninterested in being on the team. What do you guys think? Do you see that with Gus Edwards? I think he's frustrated because he doesn't have great lanes to run in because our interior offensive line is ass. But I don't think he doesn't want to be part of the team. Do you see it that way, Mario?
I don't see it that way. I see it more as part of maybe frustrated with his touches, where he's in an offense and with an offensive coordinator that is known for ground and pound, and that was kind of preached all offseason. And JK's out, and I think he thought there would be more of a production value on him and more, handoffs to him and more opportunities for him to score and show his abilities. And I don't think he's really gotten that the past couple of games, and that could be where his frustration is. Right? It's like, why am I not getting everything and more that JK was getting? Like that's to me where probably like the bad body language comes from, Dave.
Look, I'm sorry to say it, and Gus Edwards has hit the wall. All right, he's at the end of his career. This is it. This is probably his last year with the Chargers. I don't know if he's ever going to play again in the NFL. We're talking about his 7th season. He's about done. I mean, he's 29 years old and he's hit the wall, and he can sit there and lie to himself all he wants and say, I got a lot more in the tank. He knows faster than anyone else when he's hit the wall. When your legs aren't there, if your eyes are telling you get here and yet someone's beating you to the hole that you're trying to get through, I mean, I'm telling you, as you guys are younger than me, and it will happen to you too one day, you're going to be on a basketball floor playing pickup basketball and going, I used to be able to go to my left and go around everybody right here. All of a sudden, I'm not. And your eyes tell you can do it, and your brain's telling you can do it, but your legs don't respond the same way. Gus has hit the wall, man. The age factor has hit him, and he can complain all the touches he gets, and he gets frustrated that he's not getting more touches. I'm sorry. If he was any good And that's sad to say. If he was any good, they'd be giving him touches all over the place. But he's not as productive as he thinks he is, or it's what the Chargers thought when they got him. Unfortunately, he's probably the best option they have with JK out. But he's just not that good. Why do you think the Ravens let him go? They saw this coming. He hit the wall, and he hit the wall slow because his legs don't work anymore.
I definitely feel like we're watching Austin Eckler all over again, right? Austin Eckler goes from having a huge year with tons of touchdowns to he really can't get the ball moving at all, even though he's having good years with the Commanders. Gus Edwards the same way. Comes off 18 touchdowns. All of a sudden, the running holes aren't that big, and he's frustrated. I get it. I'd be frustrated too. But this Chargers team, you're going to earn every yard you get. That's why I think J.K. Dobbins being out is such a big deal. You could see the difference between a top-tier running back in J.K. Dobbins and a backup running back in Gus Edwards. I'm 100% okay with Kamani Vidal getting more touches and more opportunities. If Gus Edwards is not going to hit the hole, the little hole that he has, if he's not going to hit it, I mean, put somebody else in there. I'm all for Jamari Sawyer getting opportunities. Any guy on this team that wants to make the most out of his opportunity for struggling players, I think they should get that chance, Mario, especially in an offense where we need help. It seems like everywhere we need help besides quarterback.
I mean, you're certainly not wrong about that. More importantly, guys, I think the biggest help is going to come from Lad's health, right? If he's going to be back in this game. Like if he's in this matchup with how weak this Bucs secondary is, I think it's going to be a pretty big day for them. And then for this offense, I think it's an easy – I think if he plays, guys, it's an easy over 20 points, probably pushing like 25, 28, that range. I think if no Lad, we're hitting 20 and then, barely hitting 20 and our defense is going to hold them to 10. I think that's kind of the way that this game's going to kind of shake out. Lad's looking way ahead.
So, the Buccaneers have a historically bad defense, right? I think you make a good point. Yeah. If Ladd McConkey's out there, I think it's a difference of literally 7 to 10 points. If he's not out there, I could see the Chargers scoring 20 for sure. I think they're knocking on the door of 30 points if Ladd McConkey's out there. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, I don't think you guys are wrong. I don't think you're wrong at all. I mean, it's interesting is the Buccaneers' strength is their offense, right? And you got a ridiculous wide receiver, Mike Evans. Obviously you have a quarterback that looks like a completely different quarterback than when he was with Cleveland. I like our defense. I like our defense to keep Baker in check. I mean, I like what our defense did against KC for the most part. I like what the defense has done the entire year. And guess what? The rest of the NFL likes what the Chargers defense has done the entire year as well. So it's going to be our strength against their strength. Is our offense better than their defense? I believe the Chargers should walk out of there with a win. I do. Just one real quick. I want to mention this comment. Dominic Rogers says, didn't you say Austin Eckler would be jobless right now? Because I just called out Gus Edwards. No, I said Austin Eckler would be in the league one more year and then he'd be jobless. He played much better this year than I expected him to. So, hey, maybe I might have missed that by 1 year. So, Dominic, I know you're keeping receipts, but that you're right. I did say he'd be out. I just didn't say he'd be out this year. Gus Edwards, who knows? I hope he's still in the league, just not with us.
Yeah, well, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, looking at this game, they're 7-6. They're in first place in the worst division in the NFL. Their final 4 games are at the Chargers, at the Cowboys, at home versus the Panthers, and at home versus the Saints. If I'm a Buccaneers fan, I'm looking at that schedule. I'm saying we can lose one to the Chargers. We're already in first place in our division. Then we can win those next 3 games. Yep. I think this is the hardest game that the Buccaneers have for sure left in their schedule. I watched the Cowboys last night like the rest of us. Terrible team. Obviously, the Panthers aren't very good, and the Saints have pretty much given up on the season as well. So I think this is a game that the Buccaneers could throw away, Mario, and say, we're going to put our best foot forward, but if we lose the Chargers, it's not going to be the worst thing in the world. As a Charger fan, I look at it differently, though. This is a game that I would love to win against a really good offense and a really bad defense. I think we stack up great against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I think it's a win that points to, hey, we can beat a team that's a playoff level team. Because, like, if we're being honest, I'll throw the Bengals in there, Broncos. But, like, besides that, guys, we haven't really had that. Like, every time we've really faced a giant, we fell short. And with the Bucs win, you kind of prove to yourself and you prove to everyone to the league that, all right, yeah, like we're on, a kind of a different level. We're not the Dolphins where every time we face someone that's a little bit serious, we fall apart. That's the Mike McDaniels way. This is the Jim Harbaugh way. We're a little bit different than that. It's also kind of interesting looking at like the Buccaneers and the Falcons is that they kind of have like similar schedules, if you will. Like the last 4 games for the Falcons is pretty damn easy. Like you go at Las Vegas, then you host the Giants, and then you're at Washington, and then you have the Panthers. So like they could very much easily go 4-0, more likely 3-1. And like the Bucs, final 4 you just mentioned that they have, very likely that they could go 4-0 or 3-1. So it's kind of interesting how those two teams are battling kind of for that last spot, where they land and where they go. Obviously, Falcons have been playing really, really, piss freaking poor the past couple weeks. Yeah, horrible. I mean, Kirk Cousins, buddy, maybe it's time to hang it up. But it's
too much money.
Way too much money. A lot of Gap stuff. He can buy a lot of stuff at Gap. But it's interesting how those teams are like look to shake out the year. But like I said, man, I think Bucs, this is their Super Bowl a little bit. This is it.
I think you got to watch Bucky Irving. Sorry, real quick. Bucky Irving, the running back. I think they've put so much on him, even though he was the backup running back going into the season. If he's not playing in this game, he's been hurt for the last few weeks, I think that's a huge deal for the Chargers. Sorry to cut you off, Dave.
No problem. It's funny. There are two divisions that people have zero interest in watching, right? The AFC South and the NFC South. I mean, there's nothing there to watch, and people expected a lot from the Texans, and the Texans are a disappointing team for the most part. Yeah, they're going to be a playoff team. It's a terrible division. The NFC South is awful. I mean, seriously, out of all those teams there, the Buccaneers would be a team I'd watch just because I like to see what Mayfield and Evans and you said Irving does. The team that's kind of interesting that is getting better is Carolina, but those divisions stink. Then you sit there and you look at, like the NFC North, and you go Lions, Vikings, Packers. I mean, the Packers are the third seed in a 4-team division, and they're 9-4. But you could say the same thing, Josh, about the AFC West is not bad to watch, right? You have 3 of the 4 teams that are playoff teams in this division. Not a bad situation at all. You can make an argument that the AFC West is an underrated division.
So the AFC West and the NFC North are the only 2 divisions in the NFL with 3 playoff teams. Am I wrong about that?
I just looked at it. I think
AFC
right.
North too.
AFC
right?
North? No. Well,
AFC,
no, they're not.
AFC North.
They don't.
No, you're right.
No, only 2 of them.
NFC,
Steelers and Ravens.
Yeah,
and the AFC North.
I think you can make an argument that the AFC West is the second or third best division in the NFL. I mean, 3 really good teams. I think the Chargers don't get the credit they deserve because they haven't beaten very good teams on their schedule, but they take care of the teams that they should beat. And then you have the Broncos, so I think is a team nobody really wants to play. And then you have the Kansas City Chiefs, obviously. Raiders are piss poor. Talking about the Raiders, are you concerned at all that they might end up with a guy like Shedeur Sanders? I think they're slotted right now to have the 2nd pick, I believe, Mario.
Oh, let me look at that real quick. So I believe Giants are 1, right?
Giants are 1. Raiders are 2.
I think they might end up with Cam Ward. Oh, actually, no. I'm sorry. Raiders have 1 right now. I'm looking at Tankathon right now. So Raiders have 1. They get Shedeur. I mean, you get Shedeur, and he's a great quarterback. I'm sure he's going to be a very fine player in the NFL, but it worries me a little bit. They still have to get that coach right, because is Pierce really the coach that can develop a
Pierce has gone 100%.
QB?
You can't
think
lose
he's gone
all those
100%?
games. Dude, what have they lost? I don't know. Am I wrong? I mean, they're in a crazy, huge losing streak right now, aren't they? He's gone. Pierce has to be gone. Telesco in 1 year of a GM is supposed to keep his job, but even then you would question that if you're a Raider fan. Like, it is supposed to be Tom Brady's team. And the reason we're talking Raiders on a Charger show is that right now they're the only team in the division no one has to worry about. But you wonder, how long can we hold that off before all 4 teams are contenders? Yeah, at Telesco, they've already been told he's coming back. But Pierce is gone. Rabel right now is the lead candidate for that job. Belichick, by the way, takes the Carolina job today, North Carolina job.
No, that's not official yet. Not official yet.
You sure?
Positive.
Okay,
I'm very positive. I've been monitoring that thing. Like, yeah, he's holding out.
So does his girlfriend go to school there, or is that not?
He's holding out for his girlfriend to make sure she gets free tuition. But look, so now the story is, I guess, the holdout from the last thing I read. I'm sorry, I thought it was official. Is that when he's done coaching at Carolina, his son takes over the program. He wrote a 400-page coaching Bible and turned it into North Carolina to say this is how it's going to go. 400 pages. Have you ever wanted a job bad enough? That's serious. Have you ever wanted a job bad enough? Yeah, he did. Turn that thing in. 400 pages, Mario, to say you can have the job you have right now. What would you say? F it. I'll find something else.
I don't understand why he would go to
400
college.
pages, anything.
Like, Bill Belichick is the NFL. I don't like him going to college.
He's only a few wins away from.
North Carolina's hiring coaches that are over 80.
They went younger. The last coach was 73, 72.
Yeah.
They did say they want to go younger.
They did. They weren't lying.
When we talk about the Raiders, because I know people are listening to the show right now and saying, why would you even talk about the Raiders? Why waste your time? I think it's a huge deal. I think Shedeur
I do
Sanders
too.
is very good. And we know Brock Bowers is very good. If the Raiders end up getting Shedeur Sanders to pair with Brock Bowers, I think it's a problem. I think it's a huge problem, actually. The best scenario to me would be the Raiders actually winning a couple games down the stretch and then playing out of the Shedeur Sanders sweepstakes. If they can get Cam Ward, I think it's a huge victory for us Charger fans. I do not want to face Shedeur Sanders. I don't want to face Travis Hunter either if it ends up that way. If the Raiders could end up with Travis Hunter and Brock Bowers on the same team, I think that's a big problem. But Shedeur Sanders, to me, Mario, is the guy that I don't want to go to the Raiders. Do you look at it that way? Do you think the Raiders are so bad, I don't care who they have, or do you not want them to get Shedeur Sanders?
I mean, to your point, every year, like out of the top 3 that always, draft, one of those 3 always really excel the next year. Like, you know what I mean? Like one of them takes a massive step. This year is Commanders. Last year is the Texans. Like every time one of those teams takes a leap that everyone like kind of didn't really see coming. And if you look at the Raiders, yeah, Pierce is, not it, but they have excellent pieces. Like you mentioned Brock Bowers, you mentioned, Max Crosby. There's your edge rusher. There's your legendary tight end for the next decade. So you have 2 pieces already in place. You put a really good quarterback in there and like not a dumb head coach. Like you could have a quick turnaround and beat something good really fast. It worries me a little bit. I'll say this though. I'd be more worried. It worries me a little bit, but with the way the Chargers have been going, just with this last draft, I am not that nervous because they have Tom Telesco there, and we have Joe Ortiz, and we have Jim Harbaugh, who in this last draft just absolutely killed it. And someone asked, are we okay with letting Asante Samuel Jr. go? Have you seen our rookie corners? Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm completely fine. Thank you, Asante. Appreciate everything. Those picks in the playoffs, fantastic. Love the memories. Gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss you as much as I miss my high school girlfriend, and that's not a lot. But thanks for the memories. I like our rookie corners.
One of my favorite things about you is that you grew up in a small town. Like people know your high school girlfriend. This will get back to her.
Yeah, it could. Well, there's a couple of them. There was a couple of them. You just gotta figure out which one it was.
Oh,
let me ask you a question, Dave. Let me ask you a question, draft question. Is there any world where the Chargers could end up drafting the running back from Boise State with their first round pick if he somehow fell down to them? Would you not want him?
No. No,
you wouldn't want Genty?
Oh no, I'm a fan. I just don't think you take a running back in the top 10. I just don't think that's today's football. Maybe it is today's football. The running game has come back across the league in a big way. I mean, we've seen it by a lot of teams, right? We spoke about it at the beginning of the year. Man, so many more teams are running the ball, including the Chargers, than we've seen in the past. It used to be you didn't want to take a running back in the first round because of the money you have to pay, and then when you have to re-up, and you're in basically the situation Dallas was in with Elliott, right? And so I don't know. I just think, let's say the Raiders have a top 5 pick. I wouldn't take a running back with a top 5 pick. Doesn't seem like it plays out contract wise. It doesn't seem.
What about the Chargers?
The Chargers, yes. Where the Chargers are going to pick, yes, I would take him in a second.
You would take him?
Chargers are
with
not
that offensive line. If he's there, you would take him?
With all the money they have, meaning the Chargers, there's going to be a team. And remember, the Chiefs ran into it last year. Chiefs had a corner that they loved. What happened? Couldn't afford to keep him. Signs with the Titans, right?
Yeah.
We've seen it. There's going to be a big-time guard on a team that's really good that some team can't afford to keep, and the Chargers have the money to go grab them. You can fix your offensive line through free agency. The Chargers can fix it through free agency. It doesn't have to be through the draft. Again, you cannot usually fix your – by the way, I know we got J.K. this year, but we don't know how long J.K. is going to be a Chargers. He's going to end up in the Ring of Honor one day because he's going to play that many years with the Chargers. Running backs on such borrowed time that, you got to get the running backs when they're rookies. You got to get the running backs as rookies.
It's funny. I didn't think you were going to go that way, but I agree with you. I think we're on borrowed time with J.K. Dobbins 100%. Like, I'm very happy with J.K. Dobbins. He's played above his head. But I think the Chargers should definitely go free agency for interior offensive line. An established guy that is going to play well. when they brought in Corey Linsley, remember the difference it made, a veteran center?
Yeah.
I'm all for the Chargers bringing in a veteran guard or center and then getting a rookie running back. I love what the Lions did with Jahmyr Gibbs, right? Get a guy with some fresh young legs, maybe another running back to pair him with. If the Chargers could pair a young running back with a little bit older running back, I think it'd be great. They need to address the offensive line first. I think that's the very first thing you do with this team in the offseason. And then if, Genty's out there, I think you should go for him. I think it'd be crazy, Mario, if you could put him with Justin Herbert. It would be awesome.
I'm with it. Have you seen this guy would if Boise State didn't bench him in games where they're just up $1 million and it's like there's no reason to play him right now, and we actually have bigger goals than just beating this team from St. Mary of the Blind. He would have more records than anyone in college football right now. This guy's an animal.
Yeah.
He's a beast. I mean that respectfully. He's unreal football player. I mean right now we're still at 21. Tickathon has us taking Kenneth Grant, the D lineman from Michigan, which by the way, he's a monster. He would be a huge help for this team too. But I'm for helping that offensive side of the football, and we'll see too. I believe DeAndre Swift might be out there. And he's a good guy to kind of get for a year. I mean, it's not working out in Chicago. That's because there's idiots controlling that situation.
It'll be his third team in 3 years.
That's fine,
right? The fourth team in 5 years, right? For him.
But Eagles had a chance to get Saquon, and that worked out for him.
Yeah, but Detroit still moved on from him too, right? Detroit moved on to him. Philadelphia moved on to him. Chicago's going to move on from him.
But they drafted Gibbs.
We're talking sloppy second.
And they signed. But they signed Montgomery and Gibbs.
Yeah.
Who do we got?
That's what I'm saying. Do you think he has enough tread on the tires to say this is a team that's going to make a run at a Super Bowl? Is he our guy to lead us to a Super Bowl? Is he that big of a difference maker?
We don't need him
with somebody else. Yeah. DeAndre Swift's not at the point where he's a feature running back. You pair him with somebody else. He could be the David Montgomery to the Jahmyr Gibbs if you got Genty. People want the guy from Arizona State, Scatterbro. I don't know a lot about him. I know he's been balling lately. That's a guy you can get in the third round, I think. I don't think that's a guy you
could
pick soon. I don't know. Interesting, man.
He screams. I mean, we'll talk about this more when the draft comes around, but he screams to me good college player, and then
Blake
NFL.
Corum. He's Corum.
But he's bigger than Corum.
He's bigger. He is bigger.
Yeah. And that, by the way, that doesn't translate well. Sorry to break it to him, but that body type, good luck. Buddy.
You say the Chargers have the 21st pick right now. Is that where they're slotted, Mario?
Yeah.
Dude, I swear to God, Chargers are always slotted there. It's the worst pick to have. Somewhere between 17 and 21 is where the Chargers always are. So when you look around the league, though, and you look at these other teams, how do you look at the Chargers? Because I'm watching the Bills and Rams the other day, and my head's exploding. I'm saying if we play the Bills, I know we have a much better defense than the Rams. Can we score with a guy like Josh Allen? Because I'm watching his team, and it seems like they could just do whatever they want. I feel so bad for Justin Herbert that Josh Allen looks like he can do whatever he wants, and I think Justin Herbert's just as good as Josh Allen.
I think the Super Bowl teams right now are the Lions, the Eagles, the Bills, and you have to say the Chiefs in there because they're the Chiefs. And then after that, I think there's a pretty big gap between everyone else, and I'm including the Steelers in that too. I know the Steelers are 10-3, and I know Mike Tomlin's Mike Tomlin, and I know that team's pretty talented, but George Pickens is hurt right now, and we'll see how long he's out for. But I don't know if I trust Russell Wilson in a playoff atmosphere. The Baltimore secondary is absolutely brutal, and I said it repeatedly last year was the year. Texans can't stop from hurting themselves. Chargers, we don't have the talent. We're just not there yet. Green Bay, I'm not really, I think still too young. And I'm not really chomping at the bits. And then I'm not going to trust Sam Darnold. He's playing great, but I'm not going to trust him to go to the Super Bowl. I think it's between those, 4 teams. And then after that, Dave, I think you have a pretty big, sizable gap between everyone else. And if that's a hot take, that's a hot take. But I think that's pretty, regular thought.
Give me your 4 teams one more time. I'm looking at the standings. I want to see again. I'm looking at 3 in the AFC. I could see winning the Super Bowl.
Lions, Eagles, Kansas City, Buffalo. Not in that order. If you want to put it in order, I'd say Detroit, Buffalo, Kansas City, Eagles.
All right, I'm gonna go. I'll tell you, I'm gonna go my 3 from. I know we didn't even decide to do this on the show, but this is fun. I'm gonna go 3 in the AFC, and the Chiefs aren't one of them. Okay, I'm going Bills, Steelers. I'm going 2. I don't want to go Chiefs. I want to go Bills and Steelers. I like those 2 teams a lot. I just think the Chiefs are going to fall. I think they've been playing with fire all season long, and in the NFC, honestly, I think it's Detroit. I just don't see anyone else outside of Detroit that can play with them in the NFC.
I mean, you got the two best players on the Eagles that hate each other.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was about to get to.
Yeah,
I don't trust the Eagles at all right now. I mean, I've never seen a team win a game, especially in the NFL, and then rat F each other on the way out the door. I mean, insane. They can't even keep it in house. It's crazy to me. I mean, we've seen it before. That's why when I look at Josh Allen with the Bills, and I find myself, rooting for Josh Allen a lot because Diggs completely put him out there like he was a garbage player. And the fact that, Diggs goes and doesn't have, basically the same success in Houston as he had with the Buffalo Bills, and the Bills are rolling. McDermott, who everyone said was on the hot seat, could win Coach of the Year. I mean, he's a candidate for Coach of the Year. He's done a fantastic job with that team. There are a lot of guys. I mean, Mike Tomlin, you can go Sean Payton, go Jim Harbaugh, ton of guys there. My point is, here's the guy supposed to get fired. That's not getting fired. McDermott's not getting fired at the end of the season. He's done a fantastic job when he lost a big time start. And sorry, but when you have wide receivers like Diggs, who by the way blew it up in Minnesota too, it doesn't work out, man. It's hard enough playing the position of quarterback. Justin Herbert, Josh and I were talking about it yesterday. He doesn't seem like he talks enough. You've heard us say that on the show. But, man, it is a tough position to have one of your players. By the way, A.J. Brown will not be an Eagle next year. If you want to talk about bringing in wide receivers, A.J. Brown's going to be available. Dude, there's no way you can keep A.J. Brown after this. You have to choose between A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. Which one do you think the Eagles are going to keep? Who are they paying all that money to? And how hard is it to find a quarterback? A.J. Brown will be gone.
It's an A.J. Brown problem, I think, Mario. Like everywhere A.J. Brown goes, he's become an issue. When he was with the Titans, it was one thing after another. With the Eagles, it's one thing after another. It's really annoying to me as a guy that used to play quarterback when a guy complains and you're winning games. Like when Stephon Diggs is complaining and the Bills are winning, it's like, what's your goal here? Are you upset? Because you're obviously not getting the ball. That's why you're upset. We're winning the games. T. Higgins is upset yesterday because he doesn't get the ball. You guys won the game. The whole point is to win the game. I think it's addition by subtraction if you're a team like the Philadelphia Eagles and you move on from A.J. Brown and bring in a team-first guy. Dave and I were talking about this morning. Devontae Smith should be the guy that's pissed off. It shouldn't be A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith is a complete afterthought on that team and a very good receiver, yet he doesn't say a word because he's a team-first guy. I think the Chargers are trying to build a team-first, situation right now. I don't think there's one guy on this Chargers team that is all about himself. I can't think of one on the team right now where you're saying this guy's a cancer. I'm proud that the Chargers have good guys all over the roster.
I do agree.
The most impressive thing about Jim Harbaugh, that he was able to create that atmosphere, right?
Yeah.
And I think it goes to show too with the Harbaugh's experience, though. Like when you have a guy that's like, he's experienced winning, like you buy into his message a lot faster.
Yeah,
and also
it's hard to do.
I'm not buying the AJ Brown stuff. That's my.
You think AJ Brown's back?
Yeah.
What do you? Okay, are you saying it's Jalen Hurts' fault? Whose fault? Who do you blame for the problem?
I'm saying that's AJ. I'm saying that's just AJ Brown. Like AJ Brown is a guy that will always think he's open. Will always think he's not going to get enough. Will always think that he needs more in the passing game. He needs to be more involved in the offense. Like I think that's just who he is. And I think he's one of those guys that he runs hot. That's been reported by the way, like a lot of people and like a lot of former players and former teammates have said that. Like, yeah, he's a good guy, but he does run hot. And, you have to deal with that with what you will. And right now his talent level is good enough where you deal with that. And I think as long as they deal with that and they kind of can handle the situation, if you will, things are going to be okay. You can't help that Brandon, Graham goes on a radio show and then spills it all. You know what I mean? Like that's not AJ Brown's.
Then made him go and apologize. You see
good,
that?
Good. He should have. So that's my thing though too. Is like it's not really AJ Brown's fault. He didn't call into a radio station and go, "Yeah, Jalen Hurts sucks. I'm not getting the ball." He didn't do that. Like it was a another
Brown
guy,
did say AJ Brown did say that. AJ Brown
said
after
he
the game
sucks.
literally no, he goes, "What's the issue with this team? Passing game." Well, who's he directing that to? He didn't have to say anything. Said, "Hey, we
Okay.
won today, guys."
But
But
okay,
you
he
can't
said
blame the
passing game.
media when a guy goes
Didn't-
on a radio show or a player answers a question into a microphone and everybody's blaming the media. It's not a media deal. Nobody put a gun to AJ Brown's head and said, "Start speaking," or to
No,
Brandon's head and said, "Hey, start speaking." You went on in front of a microphone and opened your mouth. You know who
I'm
didn't open
telling.
his mouth? Jalen Hurts did not open his mouth.
No, I mean Jalen Hurts was never going to. But I'm saying is that like it's not like AJ Brown saying the passing game, is an issue. Okay, that's involves him too. It's not like him pointing the finger at everyone, like he's involved in it as well. But Graham going on a radio show and saying that 1 and 11, I can't remember the exact quote, but it was something like 1 and 11 are on the same page, whatever the hell it is. Him saying that's not on AJ Brown, that's not on Hurts. That's on Graham for saying that. You're taking a lot of dirty laundry that's not even that dirty, but you're putting it out there in a very aggressive media market that tends to run with stuff a little too far. And that's what he did. That's on him. I don't think that's on AJ.
All I know is teams that win, they don't have these issues. What would Mike Tomlin do if Mike Tomlin was the coach of that team? He would have it under control, right? He would have it under control, or the guy would be gone. I mean, you look at AJ Brown, who was great. What did Mike Tomlin do? Get the hell out of here. Gone. Ends up with the Raiders. And he was a problem there. That was a problem with the Patriots. It was a problem with the Buccaneers. He was always a problem. And so when you look at the teams that win, they don't have those. Jim Harbaugh, I don't think, would settle for this stuff either. I just don't think the coaches that we respect in this league would settle for this BS.
Yeah,
that's why I'm not picking the Eagles. Going back to the point of the question.
We got a few comments. Mike G says, "Who cares about character issues? Sometimes those are the best. KC doesn't care. Why should we?"
It depends what position you play.
It depends on the position
you play
and how good you are.
Yeah, you can put up with a lot of crap if you're a good player. If you're Kadarius Toney, we're not putting up with it. Michael Schmidt says Dan Orlovsky, who never blames quarterbacks for anything, was showing AJ Brown is open all day and not seeing the ball. I saw that too, and I understand that Jalen Hurts, the read on those plays were bad. The Eagles have not lost a game since September. Is that good? I'm not very good at math. Is 9-game winning streak good? I think it's pretty good. So shut the hell up if you're an Eagles hater. If you're AJ Brown, shut the hell up. I mean, obviously, you're talking about Jalen Hurts when you talk about the passing game. You guys have not lost a game since September 29th. It's almost Christmas. All right. Yeah. I just think it's ridiculous. I think if you're winning, that's the whole point of the game. Obviously, the Panthers, almost beat them. If Leggett could catch a freaking ball, Mario, the Panthers win that game. I don't think the Panthers are that bad. I think actually Bryce Young is one of the better quarterbacks in the league right now. People saying that that's a cakewalk win. It's not, especially when the game is down in Carolina. Do you want to get to the star chats, or do you have anything else you want to add?
You know what? Real quick. Think about what you just said on how long it's been since they lost. The last time you lost, you were sweating your ass off. It was hot as can be. You had fans behind you. Now you are freezing your ass off every single week, right? And you got the jackets and the heaters and everything else. That's a long time in this league to not lose a game. That's really impressive.
It is impressive.
Let's go to.
Sorry, Mario. Go ahead.
Yeah. A couple of things I want to add to is it is crazy that all this is going on around Philly with like how the success that they're having. We're like winning should fix all. Like it should, right? And like they're still having this going on. And like on the Panthers, I think that's a interesting development that's like not getting as much love that it should in the NFL is Bryce Young's comeback, man. Like just let's give some love to the guy that just took absolute crap for a year because CJ Stroud looked that good. Let's actually give him some freaking praise. Like that, kid's a stud. The kid was making plays against the Eagles that a lot of quarterbacks in this league couldn't do, man. And like, I just want to I don't know. I want to give that like guy some freaking credit because he just got ruined for a long time, and I probably crapped on him too.
Hold on, I got a quick question for you. Go ahead, Josh.
No, I think the playbook with young quarterbacks is you sit them and then you play them when they're ready. You don't throw them into bad situations. I think that's what happened to Bryce Young.
Exactly. I think that always pays out.
All right, let me ask you a quick quarterback question, Josh, because it is going to be funny. I remember the first time I ever heard this is PE time, lunchtime, you're going out, you're playing PE, you're playing football with your boys, and you score a touchdown. And what do? You immediately have one or two kids come back to you and go, "I was open." It's like, dude, we scored. I was open. And you always have that one guy. AJ Brown's that one guy, obviously. Devontae Smith's not that guy, but there's a guy that does it all the time. I'm sure they did it to Brady. They did it to Troy Aikman. Alvin Harper probably did it a million times when just throwing a Michael Irvin, got it. But, dude, I would sit there in class after lunch, my arms crossed in the back of that classroom, mother effer. And I'd be staring that kid down dude, the whole time. Like, I hate this guy. How long can you continue to go this route if you're a guy like Jalen Hurts or any quarterback, knowing that guy's not your brother? You know, you don't have the cohesiveness to move forward of going, the offense is telling me this, but I got to focus on number 11's feelings nonstop. When does that become a distraction?
From the very beginning. And can you put up Matthew Dahl's comment right here from 199? It says, AJ Brown is a bum, always thinking about himself. That's the way I look at it, Mario. As a quarterback, you have to go through your progressions, go through your reads. I'm not looking to see if number 11 is my first option. If he's not the first option in that play, it's a read, a progression for every single play. I understand that you want to give 11 the ball, but if it's not the right read, then it's not the right read. The Eagles have won 9 games in a row. Obviously, Saquon Barkley has been the best part of that offense, but Jalen Hurts has done enough to win too. So if I'm AJ Brown, I just think it's insane. When I played quarterback, it happened to me. It happens to every quarterback where guys are complaining about not getting the ball. I remember like yesterday, I was running a play. It was a bootleg. This guy was open in the flat, right? 5 yards down the field. And I threw like a 50-yard touchdown pass to the right read. And the guy that was open in the flat cussed me out and was like, I can't believe, he's older than me. He's like, I can't believe you wouldn't throw me the ball. I'm like, dude, we just scored on a 50-yard touchdown. What are you talking about? And I'll never forget that about that guy ever again. Every time I see that guy, that's the first thing I think about. If I'm Jalen Hurts, I'm thinking, do you want to win or do you just want the ball? Stephon Diggs, do you want to win or do you want the ball? Which one is it? Because I need to do the right thing for the team, and you're all about yourself. Drives me nuts, dude. I'm actually pissed right now.
Yeah, I think I know that guy. He works a drive-through window in a fast food place. You should drive through and go, you still open?
I think he's a sushi chef.
Now he is. Sorry.
I always say, too, there's a difference between confident and being cocky. You know?
I'll take confidence all day long.
I'll take confidence all day long. Cockiness to me screams out insecurities. Confidence means, nah, you're proven.
Yeah, just shows what kind of person you are, man. All right, I love this comment here because I wanted to bring this up. This one comes from Jose. It says, if the Chargers win their next 3 games, should they rest their other players against the Raiders? For me, it's a resounding yes. 2 reasons. One, you'll have the playoffs locked up. You don't want somebody to get hurt. You don't want the Mike Williams situation that happened in Denver. 2, if the Raiders win and they beat you in a meaningless game, they don't have a chance at Shadur Sanders. I think it's perfect for the Chargers. You don't want the Raiders to have their future quarterback. I would rest our guys if we're in that position.
What do you think, Dave?
No. I want to win everything. I want to win all the time, win every single day. I want to win. I understand you're winning for maybe 3 hours and feel good, Josh. And maybe the long-term play would be, by you losing that game, the Raiders don't win for 5 years. I got it, because they don't get the quarterback they want in the draft. No, I don't believe in taking. I don't like when the Colts used to do it. Mario lived in Indianapolis when this used to happen, where the Colts would, breeze through, and then they would take week 16 off, and then go into the postseason, get a bye, and then trying to heat up again. I don't like anything that gets away from what you're doing well. I don't want that. And also, let's be honest, we want to show Tom Telesco this is where you should have done if you did your job correctly. We don't want Tom Telesco ever walking out of a stadium going, yeah, we beat the guys that used to pay me and that told me I wasn't good enough anymore. I don't want to give the Raider week, we used to call it. You don't give the Raiders anything. No.
I think if we have a chance to move up to that 5th spot over Baltimore, you have to play them, because I'd rather go to Houston than go to Pittsburgh. And that's just if it stayed true today. It's like if playoffs started today, we'd face Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh. I'd rather face Houston than them. So if they have a chance to move up and get a kind of, I think, a friendlier matchup against a team that makes a lot of mistakes, I'd rather take that than face Mike Tomlin, who's like, oh, this is my 100,000th playoff game, and come beat us in Pittsburgh, where it's going to be cold, very hard place to play. Home field advantage very much goes in their direction. I'm all set on that. I'll go to Houston and indoor stadium and fight it out.
I get it. I understand. I totally
Yeah.
understand.
Not saying you're wrong on you're playing the long game. I'm talking.
Oh
short
yeah,
game.
I'm not saying you're wrong either. I think that's
No, I
No,
get, I
yeah,
get what you guys
Josh
are saying. I just look at the bye week the Chargers had, and they won 5 out of their 6 after the bye week. I just thought that was a much better team when they were rested. But
Yeah,
I'd rather play
I
the
agree.
Texans than the Steelers as well, if that's the situation. Next one comes from Miguel, 499. It says, if we get all of our players back, how deep in the playoffs can we go? Can we beat the Chiefs? Thanks for the show. Always look forward to it. What do you think, Mario?
I think if we get the Chiefs in the playoffs, similar to if we had a 4-5 spot, we'd face them in the second round. I would love to play the Chiefs. Because that's a third time they have to beat us. That is extremely hard to do. Extremely hard, especially in that second time around where it came down to the last second and we were not fully healthy. I will take that any day of the week. Then we advance to the second round, and then we take Buffalo, and it's a blizzard over there. And you're like, okay, this is like Josh Allen's heaven. Crap, this is gonna suck. I'll take going into Arrowhead for the third time and facing Patrick Mahomes and that team, then going to a blizzard in Buffalo. 10 times over, Dave.
Chiefs fans right now, if they were listening, they'd be laughing their asses at us right now for
They
saying this.
would.
Dude, I want
They
to.
would.
I want to face the Chiefs too. I do. I want to face the Chiefs. Like, it would make it that much sweeter. I want to face the Chiefs. I want to face the Chiefs more than I want to face the Steelers. I want to face the Chiefs more than I want to face the Bills. I want the Chiefs. I honestly think this team can take the Chiefs. It sounds crazy. It sounds like the shell game. It looks so easy to figure out where you're picking, and it doesn't work out. Dude, the Chiefs are right there for the taking. I saw a weird stat today. It was if you reversed every one-score game and they redid the standings. I don't know if you guys saw that on Instagram. The Chiefs would have 2 wins on the season. Like, the Chiefs are there. Eventually, they're going to slip. Why not slip against us?
Yeah.
I want to play the Chiefs. That's
Me
exactly
too.
the team I want to play. The Chiefs don't want to play the Chargers. I don't think, for sure. Like Mario said, third time beating a team 3 times is hard. And the question was, if we have full health, which would be J.K. Dobbins and Ladd McConkey, I think it's a totally different game. I think those 2 guys make such a big difference. I absolutely want to play the Chiefs in the playoffs.
And like you said, like how brutal would it be to go to Buffalo? How brutal would that be?
We don't match up well with them.
No, not at all. They want to shoot out. We don't even want to bring the guns out. We know. We're like,
We
we'll
don't
do a
have guns.
knife fight.
Yeah, we'll
We don't
slap
have
box.
guns.
Yeah, we'll slap.
We have rubber bands in our thumbs.
Yeah, we don't want that at all.
Okay, who would you rather play in the playoffs? Would you rather go to Kansas City or Pittsburgh?
Casey.
I want to play the Chiefs so bad. Like, that's the team I
Yeah.
want, strangely. Like, get out of the way.
Even if
Just play the Chiefs.
Let me
I
tell you,
don't know.
for
I
me,
think I'm
it's
almost rather go to Pitt on that.
not me. I look at that. I look at that Steelers defense. I look at that crowd. TJ Watt, Minka. I'd rather face the Chiefs. And if the Chargers beat the Chiefs, and let's say they get eliminated the next week, I can live with that the entire offseason. Just the fact we ended the Chiefs season. Like,
That was the worst game of the
West.
season, without a doubt, right? That's the only
The
game
Chiefs
where the
game or
Chargers.
the Steelers game?
The Steelers game. It's the only game the Chargers have lost all season by more than 1 score.
Yeah,
that's
because we
why
had
I think.
injuries. We fell apart.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, you mean when Joey Bosa got hurt on the first play of the game?
No, when Rashawn Slater got hurt.
Oh, yeah, that too.
That's why I would rather, and they have very good pass rushers all around that besides Watt, but that's why I'd want them
that's what I'm
again. And we all
Me
I
too.
know, we talk about being familiar with matchups. Like, key thing to remember, guys, a lot of guys on our staff are Ravens guys. Very familiar with the Steelers,
Mike G right here says, is a 9-8 season a failure, Josh? Earlier this year, you said no. I believe what I said was, if you don't make the playoffs, it's a failure. I think with 9 wins, you make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that just means the Chargers have to go 2-2 in these next 4 games, which they absolutely should win 2 out of the next 4 games.
2-2 would give them 10 wins. They have 8 wins. Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Yeah. Dude, if the Chargers go 1-3 and they make the playoffs, I'll be pissed if they went 1-3, but they made the playoffs. That's my goal going into the season. Now, I think winning a playoff game is the goal. I think this is a playoff team, and now I'd love to win a playoff game. Do you look at it the same way? What's considered a failure and what's not, Mario?
Not making the playoffs is a failure. I preach that all year. The schedule screams you should be in the playoffs. They can't do it, then we got a problem.
Yeah, if they for some reason they completely fall apart, they don't make the playoffs, it's a failure. But otherwise, this season's been a huge success, taking steps forward. I mean, you picked 5th overall in the draft in April.
That you did.
You know, yep, huge success.
True.
I'd
All
say
right,
the
well,
only
that's
failure this year is not splitting with the Chiefs.
That's the most upset I've been all season.
Yeah, I think
I'm
that'd
so
be
mad, dude.
yeah. That would be if you had to choose like what disappointed you. It'd be that like we didn't split with them.
I have a question for you because we got a lot of these comments on the last show. People were saying, "What did you expect? You thought the Chargers were going to lose to the Chiefs before the game started. Why are you mad?" It's not that I didn't think the Chargers were going to. It's not that I thought the Chargers were going to win because I didn't think the Chargers were in a good position to win against the Chiefs without Lad McConkey. It's the way they lost is what bothers me. When you're at the finish line, you expect the team to close it out, even if you're not supposed to win. I understand that the Chiefs are favored in that game, but it's okay to be upset when your team is at the finish line. When they lose the game, you shouldn't be like, "Oh, it's the Chiefs. We're supposed to lose." It's supposed to be, "No, I believe in my team. Like we're so close to winning. I can be upset because we were close to the finish line." Is that not the way you guys look at it? I don't look at it as, "Oh, it's the Chiefs." Like it's okay. I definitely don't look at it that way.
I'm with you, considering I remember when the Chiefs got the ball back, I thought there'd be enough time. I was like, even if they score, which I thought they would score, I was like, there's gonna be enough time for Herbert, and then we have a shot. And the fact that it got dwindled down and they were, great clock management on their end, and they were able to get to 0, that's a frustrating part. It's like we were staring at it in the face, the win, and then it was just slowly pulled away.
Hey, real quick, just want to give you an update on our picks this week. People want to know how we did. Mario, actually, no, Josh, you did the best this week. Okay, you're 8-4. All right, 8-4. You're 94-99 on the season. Mario, you were second best, 7-5. You're 117-91. That's pretty impressive, man. 117-91 on the season. I was 6-6, 105. And 103 overall record. So we're going to pick games again on Thursday. I cannot get a Thursday night game right at all. I've not nailed a Titans game right the entire year. I find it fascinating that I can't get a Titans game right. But again, we'll do our picks coming up. Thanks everyone again for the super chats. Please like and subscribe to the show. Some of you guys understand the drill as soon as the show starts. But if you get a chance, you listen to this podcast, please give us the like, give us the subscribe. We're going to break down the game in depth coming up on Thursday. Mario always has great notes as we get ready for the Buccaneers coming to SoFi Stadium. But again, thanks everyone for participating and basically following along with this show. For Mario Heron, Josh Palais, I'm Dave Palais. Thanks again for listening to the Bullet Crew podcast. We'll talk to you on Thursday at 1 o'clock Pacific time.